big-time reporter, Big J journalist, Wyatt Arndt was at the arena for us at Canucks Army last night. Okay, bring it down. As is quickly becoming a tradition on this show, Wyatt Arndt is brought to you by his own merch, which is available now at nationgear.ca. Get your gear under the tree. Get your favorite fan the gift of Nation Gear this holiday season. Order by December 10th to receive your Nation Gear before the holidays. Visit nationgear.ca to check out our latest collection. New background today, Wyatt.
It's a bit fancier. I know you've questioned my professionalism in the past, so it's funny that you're wearing a turtle shirt while I and Harmon dress appropriately. So I just, whatever. That's cool. Hypocrisy's cool. I get it.
Wyatt, I also have to ask, what do I have to do to be cool enough to get my own merch like you?
You have to basically be an award-winning journalist and then just have Nation Network be really nice to you out of nowhere. I don't know how it happened. It was pretty good. I think just live the award-winning life. That's all I can say.
You're on your way, Harmon. You're on your way. Yeah. You're already in the Nation Network studio. You got the Canucks Army logo behind. You're on your way. You're
like a 6 out of 10 on there. You got to get to 10 out of 10. Yeah.
Wyatt, what did you think about the game last night? You were there. You were in the press box. Overall thoughts on the game?
Game was terrible. It really felt like a mismatch. Kind of felt more like last year's Canucks, where you saw them and it didn't feel like they had much of a chance. I know there was one 10-minute stretch that talked about where they felt they had a bit of a pushback and a chance. That's true. When it's 2-0, it felt like maybe they get a goal, maybe they get a spark under them. But then that Tyler Myers penalty really did them in. And their penalty kill, like we're talking about in the press row, was a weird. Like it was just two guys down low, two guys up really high. I don't know what the strategy was there, but Will Carlson shoots it in and scores pretty easily. Overall, it just felt like only a handful of players stood out to me. Like honest, Connor Garland, I think still has been just playing really well. This for such a small player, he is so strong on the boards and so good at that puck. Like he was able to spin off a very big Vegas team and create chances. You start to wonder, like maybe you find a finisher for him, because nothing against Dakota Joshua, but he doesn't have that finishing talent that maybe someone that better could maybe finish off those chances that Garland's setting them up with. Hochleiter played well, like you said, but overall, it really was a case of the top players of the Canucks just didn't show up. Like even Hughes, who is a fantastic player, has had a fantastic season. Even his impact didn't feel as big as it has in the past games.
Wyatt, how worried are you about the top six right now? Because it wasn't just a stinker performance against Vegas for them, but feels like it's been a while now where, especially at 5-on-5, the top six just isn't driving the bus like they did early in the season.
Yeah, we all talked about the regression that's coming, and it feels like that. So now you're starting to wonder, like, how far is it going to go the other way, and when are they kind of stop that? Because, you talked about the low danger chances. They actually were credited with like 13 high danger chances, but I think those are the ones that were like kind of those download slam home plays. That's all they could kind of get out of that game. And Aiden Hill's really good at stopping those. And they did have some good chances down there, but your entire game plan can't just be, slam it down low. They weren't able to get anything in the middle of the ice. Elias Pettersson has been the topic du jour because we just don't know where he is right now. We don't know what kind of player he is right now. We don't know. Like we thought maybe against the Ducks, maybe his game is coming to form, but the Ducks are a bit of an easier opponent. But when you run to the big boys, he was nowhere to be seen. The JT Miller defense that, again, we've talked about and you guys did as well. That was one of the worst defensive performances we've seen. That the Brock Besser blow to the zone goal, like there were 3 mistakes in that. JT Miller was terrible in the first check that started that whole progress. Tyler Myers started spinning in circles and then Besser blows the zone. That's 2022 Canucks right there. So, Miller talked about it post game that they're kind of doing the right things every other game. And that's what it feels like. They're inconsistent right now. And if they want to be a team that finishes, top 4, they've got to find a way to be consistent, because right now they're saying, like, they're acknowledging that they're not playing well, but it's been around 8 games where you don't know what team you're going to get every night. And that's just not going to be good enough for this team.
Miller took a lot of accountability post game. It was the subject of the Stanchies last night that you wrote live from Rogers Arena. What were your thoughts on JT Miller's comments post game?
Hey, honestly, we've seen him in the past kind of push back a bit when people call it his back checking, and there's kind of a bit of some animosity there. But to his full credit, he took accountability on the nose right there. Right away, he just, even like when you were there in the room, the vibe of it, like you can just tell, like he was just there. He was going to ask the questions, but he was pissed. Like he was not happy with himself. I'm sure for him, I know they said that it wasn't, we're not going to measure ourselves against this team, but that is a measuring stick. You see the defending Stanley Cup champions, you can say whatever you want. You always want to test yourself against the best and kind of see how you measure up. And Vegas has always been traditionally a very hard challenge for the Canucks. So I think for Miller, especially, because we know like everyone's a competitor, but some people, it burns them a little bit more when they lose. I think Miller especially, especially with how he played, felt that loss and just was not happy with it. And again, that's to his credit, because in the past, like I've said, sometimes he's pushed back and been like, hey, I back check a couple times. No, he knew those first 2 goals. Like you said, he was standing around. You might not as well have been there. And that's pretty damning for him to say about himself.
Yep.
On a lighter note, Canucks acquired Nikita Zadorov yesterday. How excited are you to have like a second chaos draft, essentially?
I am so excited, man. I cannot wait. Because, like, especially if those two play in the same pair together, I just have visions of them hitting one guy together and sandwiching him and him just crumpling and them high-fiving. Like, it's like the Bash brothers are on the team. It's funny because, like, obviously anytime you get a new player, the market kind of starts saying, like, I think I already saw some comments, they would have lost if they had Zadorov. It's like, let's just relax a little bit. he's not going to fix the team. But in terms of being an exciting player, like, and for a team that's traditionally been very boring to watch the last 8 years, he adds another element of excitement. And for a market that like absolutely loves big hits, this guy's going to provide those. Because you watch his hit compilation, this guy hits hard. Like, you feel those hits. He is just a big tank out there. So having him out there and just like his offensive plays, we've seen, like, Harmon's article I was reading and seeing some of his ability just to skate that fast, like for a guy that big. It's pure entertainment. Like, how could you not be excited about this trade?
Wyatt, what does this team need right now? What's going to get them out of this funk?
Elias Pettersson to wake up. I don't know if he's hurt, fair enough, but he right now, like, we've seen Besser and Miller have games where they've led and scored goals. Pettersson, aside from that Duck game, it still feels like we don't know where he is, and that's affecting Mikheyev, that's affecting Kuzmenko. It's sort of rippling down the lineup now in terms of, because they never talk of like maybe Kuzmenko plays with Miller and Besser now. So you're sitting there wondering, when is Pettersson going to start driving a line? Because, you know, we know he can. Beginning of the season, he did. We've seen him be the best player in the league at that time. But right now, you come in, you watch Jack Eichel just trounce your team.
Mm-hmm.
You know what good players can do, and the Canucks need some more of those performances from their best players, because we all know this team is like one of those teams that, you know, you're hoping to make the playoffs. But in order to get there, as they did at the beginning of the season, their big players need to be their big players. And right now, to me, Elias Pettersson is that's such a worry right now because we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so we were going to do a football quiz today. Like, that was what we said, but they traded for Nikita Zadorov. So maybe next week, Wyatt, you're back on Friday, our regular Friday guest, of course, Wyatt Arndt, who's going to give us a football question next week. Next week, we're going to have a good time with some football questions. Wyatt,
I do just want to say real quickly that I got to start trading my shoulder, because in those scrums, you got to hold your microphone out, and I was too far. So during the scrum to Tyler Myers, not only is he like 7 foot tall, but I was sitting there. He talked for like 6 minutes. My shoulder's shaking. I had to hold my arm with the other arm, and I was sitting there. And as I stopped, everyone started laughing because they thought I was going to sneeze. I was turning away in pain. So I'm rusty too. We can all up our game. I got to be better. That's on me. I might as well have just been standing there. You know, it's I got to get better.
We'll get you a little tripod that you
can
put
on the Thank you. I need one of those.
Just set up your mic in front of them with like the Sportsnet, the Canucks mic on the tripod. Just set the
get him a stanchion to lean on. How about
that? Thank you. I need my fellow stanchions to help me. I like that.
Wyatt, good stuff as always, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks. I had one quick shout out to Harmon. Your article on The Athletic about Zadorov was fantastic. I loved it.
Thanks, man.
My Athletic subscription just renewed on my credit card, and I know you get a free one, obviously, so you don't know the pain, and Wyatt used to. Oh, Wyatt's gone. But you know, when you don't, you know this with any subscription, when you don't remember that a subscription's gonna renew and then it renews, you're just like, oh, I did not think this was coming. So my Athletic, so you're welcome. The Athletic one came in.
Well, it's not going into my bank account, so
kind of. No,
not going into my bank account.
Okay. Anyways, we'll close it there. Thanks to Wyatt Arndt for joining us on this Friday. He is our Friday regular. Canucks Conversation with Harmon and Quads every weekday at 2 p.m. Be sure to check it out on the Canucks Army YouTube channel. And if you missed it, go check it out on your favorite podcast catcher app.